an adult show, and if you ain't one of them, it's probably time to go. This is an adult show, yeah, this is an adult show, and if you ain't one of them, it's probably time to go.
Welcome back, everybody. It's me, the drunk and underwhelming, everybody's favorite drunk magician. We're back on TDAU Live. I think I got the numbers fixed. I think we're in episode 20. This has been a wild little adventure. And yeah, we got a lot going on this week. Obviously, the eclipse is upcoming. I missed some topics last week. I'm hoping that Kesha is no longer waking up feeling like P. Diddy. Yeah, I had to get that one off my chest because that one was supposed to open with that last week. And, you know, sometimes drunk magicians gonna be drunk magicians and forget shit. But yeah, here we are. Welcome back to another wild week. It's episode 20, TDAU Live. And yeah, of course, the eclipse is going on. There's also a lot in news, lots of interesting stuff. We're going to talk about hot dog flavored water, of course, as the, oh, yep, beautiful. Oh, nope. Colin, thank you for dropping by and giving a heart. I appreciate the heart on the on the page, on the thing. I don't know. But, yeah, we got hot dog flavored water. We got more than pulling a leg. Lots of interesting stories. We're gonna get into a short film that Pierre Vachon was just in. I'll live react to that. That'll be fun. Yeah, we got lots of stuff going on. There's a bunch of protests and that kind of stuff. California minimum wage. Pete Buttigieg making fun of people. Massachusetts basketball team doing the same thing that the Vermont Christian Girls School did and just quitting because they were sick of their players getting injured by trans players on the other team. Robert F. Kennedy claiming Biden's a bigger threat to democracy. Their democracy is under attack. Yeah, and then eclipse news. And Bernie proving that he might live in the state of Vermont. He has no idea what the hell's going on around here because apparently the gentleman's calling for a 4-day work week while no business in the entire state's able to staff their business on a 5-day work week. So yeah, that should totally work out. Anyways, we got a lot to get into. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. This is TDU Live. Let's go.
Yeah, back baby.
Are you saying you want to show me your tits?
This is the story of a drunk who grew up kind of a punk, and then all his friends left him, and now he's here alone. This is the story of a drunk who grew up kind of punk. Now he's here doing the drunk and underwhelming live show.
This is a weird show.
Drunk and underwhelming live show. Drunk and underwhelming live show. Drunk and underwhelming live show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm, of course, Hickory, the drunk and underwhelming. Welcome to TDAU Live, episode 20. Baby Hedgehog, hot dog flavored water, and a little more than pulling your leg. That's right. We got a lot to get into. So without further ado, the first topic of the evening is we got a couple Vermont topics for tonight. That's for sure. A lot of local stuff going on. This one particularly about the state of Vermont, and it's very silly environmental regulations that don't make any sense to anyone who thinks rationally about these things. Yeah, here we go. From WCAX. Vermont farm families' outdated wood boiler fuels heated legal battle. That's right, because why not attack a farmer, you know? Just, there's like 10 people left in the state that produce, actually grow food, so why not go after them? We need to get rid of them. We need some bug farmers up in the state of Vermont. That's what we need. Outdated wood boiler fuel heated legal battle. See what they did there? It's heated because it's a wood boiler. Anyway, in Morrisville, a farm in Morrisville is fighting the state of Vermont over an outdated wood boiler the family says they can't afford to replace. 11 years ago, a farm in Morrisville started their wood boiler wasn't up to code. Today, it's still burning, and the farm has been boiled in a heated legal battle with the state. Last guy said as soon as the weather breaks, they're going to come get the furnace. I said they weren't gonna, said Dennis Morin of the Morin Farm. Yeah, it's in Morrisville. The trouble began in 2013 when neighbors complained about smoke coming from Dennis and Nita Morin's Morrisville home. The source, an outdoor hydronic heater, or OHH, used to heat Morin's home, milk house, and barn of cows. That's right, the heater this guy's using so his cows don't freeze to death during the winter. or his family, I guess. But you know, upon inspection, the state found that Morin's OHH was uncertified and outdated. Oh no, oh no. They also know that Morons were burning prohibited material like cardboard. Yeah, God forbid you start a fire with some cardboard. Starting in the 1900s, Vermont passed several OHH regulations to limit emissions, and then a federal regulation went into effect requiring switch to phase 2 OHHs considered to work better and produce cleaner emissions. The state offered the Morons $6,000 to upgrade their OHH, leaving them to pay the rest of the approximate $20,000 upgrade, and they declined. Officials with the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources didn't make themselves available for an interview, and comment was limited because the case is active. In a statement emailed to WCX News, they wrote, in 2023, the agency revived the former change-out program, adjusted awards for inflation from $6,000 to $10,000. They revised the incentive amount was offered to the Morons. However, they continue to refuse to participate in the program. Then Morin says a $10,000 price tag isn't in their budget. Can you afford to shell out the extra cash right now? Morin said, no, I couldn't. And don't you know how, and I don't know how much longer I can go because farming is getting awful tough and my wife's health isn't very good. Since then, Morins have been hit with countless court dates. They've only made it to one. He said every time they have a court date, they make it at 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm in the barn cleaning, Dennis Morin said. He says we went to, he says upgrading if the state is willing to pay. They won't sign no paper, Morin said. The state seizes the property. Morin said he'll move to New Hampshire or Maine. He says he's frustrated with the dying dairy industry and the state regulations that don't consider the finances of farmers like him. Vermont's going to be a welfare state when they get all done, Morin said, in absolute perfect honesty. You know, nobody's going to be able to afford to live here. ANR says Morin's case is currently pending before the Superior Court Environmental Division. Yeah, because we definitely need an environmental court. That's probably a good use of our tax money, is to harass farmers. As for Morris, they're preparing for a showdown on the farm if the agency comes to remove the boiler. So who knows what'll go on there, but the ironic part, right, is that he could just be burning wood randomly in a field and nobody could do a damn thing about it. But the second it goes into an uncertified thing and you're actually trying to use the heat for something, it's like oh no, that's bad for the environment. Even though you're perfectly in your right to just have massive burn piles going all the time, you know, and the neighbors couldn't do anything. But the second you're actually trying to like use some of that heat, it becomes a big issue. So yeah, if I were him, I'd like to donate some wood and go up to his place and we'll just have raging bonfires like 24/7 and protest. That'd be a real good protest. Really get the neighbors complaining. But good Lord, man. Like, yeah, we're spending a bunch of tax money to harass this poor farmer for heating his home. The only way he's capable. And from keeping his cows from starving. Or freezing, not starving. I'm sure they're doing fine. They look healthy enough. Assuming those are actually his cows and they didn't just use a stock image, which is pretty normal. Yeah. Funny story of the week. Someone tell Limp Bizkit 7-Eleven introducing Hotdog flavored sparkling water. That's right. 7 Select House of Miracles Big Bite Hotdog sparkling water. 7-Eleven Big Bite Hotdog sparkling water. Next to a photo of Fred Durst, who's looking a little more like Hulk Hogan every time I see him. It's like Hulk Hogan without the muscles. More tattoos. Get your chocolate starfish ready. 7-Eleven. Oh, you're so clever. Is rolling out. Rolling out a new hot dog flavored water sparkling beverage. Apparently there's no official affiliation with the new metal pioneers. Limp Bizkit famously released multi-platinum 2000 album Chocolate Starfish and hot dog flavored water. Yeah, because they weren't the only ones to ever talk about hot dog flavored water. It's kind of a joke. It's kind of a meme. I don't know if you got that, Mr. John, who wrote the article, but it's they weren't like the first ones to coin that phrase. The 7 Select Big Bite Hot Dog Sparkling Water is launching as part of a new line of sparkling beverages created in collaboration with art-inspired brand Miracle Seltzer. Other flavors include lemon lime, green apple, sweet orange, but it's the Big Bite hot dog flavor inspired by 7-Eleven's famous roller dog that has our inner new metal kids salivating. The Big Bite hot dog sparkling water combines the delicious mouthwatering experience of 7-Eleven's iconic Big Bite hot dog in one refreshing beverage, ketchup and mustard included. Read 7-Eleven's official description. Gone are the days of alternating bites of a hot dog and sips of a beverage. Now you can go to the but now those on the go can swap the bun for bubbles. There's also less calories. I'm assuming it's an actual sparkling water, so it's going to be like water, flavored water. Absolutely phenomenal. The innovators of the Big Gulp went as far as to call the hot dog flavored water a daring flavor that pushes the boundaries of flavor innovation. Get out of here. We'll also reiterate the beverage does not appear to be affiliated with Limp Bizkit, because why would it be? 7-Eleven is constantly in pursuit of innovative, unique experiences for our customers, and the 7 Select / Miracle Seltzer lineup is sure to delight even the most adventurous of palates. We're excited for our customers to embark on this flavor adventure and experience their favorite snack in a whole new form. Because who didn't need hot dog flavored sparkling water? More details on the specific availability of the hot dog flavored sparkling water will be released Monday, April 1st. Oh, I should have looked for updates. When the rest of the sparkling beverage line hits 7-Eleven stores across the country, everything seems pretty official about the announcement. So if this is an elaborate April Fool's joke, 7-Eleven is setting up well in advance. It is indeed a real drink. The hot dog water would be available in time for Limp Bizkit's North American tour outing, which features support from Corey Feldman, because who cares? Why are we still talking about Limp Bizkit? I don't understand. They're not the only people. Like, get over it, guys. Nick, what's up, fuckers? Nick, what's going on? Welcome to the show. What do you think, my friend? Do you think hot dog flavored sparkling water is going to be a big hit? I think we could have the products of our generation on our hands here, sir. That's my official prediction. I think it's going to go over super, super well. Here's a silly one. I had to share this because this one was like a cute, every once in a while I like to share like a cute, heartwarming story on the show. And this was one of them. Although, hold on. I think I might go down just so I don't want to spoil it too soon. It's a good. So basically, this elderly woman in the UK finds a. Benji, welcome. He loves this hot dog water. I mean, who doesn't, right? Like, it's a thing. So, elderly woman finds this baby hedgehog out on in front of her place and finds it's injured. She rushes into action where she believed in an abandoned critter on the side of the road in England. After a night without witnessing the puffball mover eat, the Good Samaritan rushed it to Lower Moss Wood Nature Reserve and Wildlife Hospital in Cheshire. It was the first submission of the day. The lady came in with a box. She said she had found this baby hedgehog on the pavement. It was cold, and she picked it up. Wildlife Hospital manager Jenny Coates recalled about the bewildering incident. I was alarmed as it's early for baby hedgehog, so I was a bit concerned. I took the box from her and took it through triage, which is in a separate room. I opened the box, and while I couldn't believe what I was seeing, I thought, it's definitely not a hedgehog. Perhaps it's some kind of other fluffy creature. As soon as she picked up the fuzzball, Coates realized that was precisely what it was. I realized it wasn't animated at all, and I picked it up, and obviously with the weight, I could feel that it wasn't a hedgehog or any other animal at all. So what could it be? I put it back in the box and came out and said to the lady, it's actually a bobble off a bobble hat. The animal lover was very embarrassed, according to Coates, asking whether the manager was joking before shuffling out of the hospital with her box and bobble. She's very sweet, bless her. Her heart was in the right place, Coates said. According to the hospital manager, the animal lover had made the mistake by simply not looking closely enough at the hat embellishment. She had swept it through what she thought the baby animal into a cardboard box, which she lined with newspaper and stocked with cat food. What a sweetheart, right? Like, a heartwarming story about this little old lady trying to do the right thing. She tried to keep her distance during regular checks on the animal throughout the night to allow it to recover, never allowing herself close enough to realize that it didn't have any ears, eyes, legs, or other animalistic features. The weight of the bobble didn't seem to tip her off, though it was Coates' first indication that she wasn't dealing with a hedgehog. I would have immediately known from the weight. A bobble weighs nothing, but bless her heart was in the right place, Coates said. I don't think she'll make the same mistake again. I think she'll check next time. The Lower Moss Wood Nature Reserve and Wildlife Hospital shared this hilarious tale on Facebook over the weekend, saying the woman's overly good nature melted the hearts of its staff. Coates reminded other animal lovers to follow in the woman's footsteps and rescue a real hedgehog if spawnered waddling around during the daytime, which is a sign the animal is in distress. It's a golden rule that hedgehogs shouldn't be out in the daytime, especially ones like that. But she did the absolute right thing, aside from the fact that it wasn't a hedgehog. Yeah, what a great, heartwarming story. That's why I held the headline, or hid the headline. Animal lover rushes sick baby hedgehog to vet, only to find out she's been caring for a hat pom pom. That's right. Yeah, I have one of those hats. I can understand. I can understand the good buzz on why you might have gotten confused there. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's get right into well, kind of funny news, because it's kind of funny when these idiots do this stuff to themselves. But here we go. California minimum wage mandate causes maximum damage. See what they did? Minimum wage, maximum. Yeah, you're so clever. You're so clever, Fox. It's tale as old as time, too often ignored by politicians. Elected officials pass sweeping new policies. Small businesses, consumers pay the price. Considering the new law in California mandating a $20 hourly minimum wage at quick service restaurants across the state. In days leading up to the April 1st implementation date, the headlines were predictably awash with grim economic news. Minimum wage increase in California could lead to layoffs, blared KNTV News in San Francisco. As business owners and their trade groups warned when the Fast Food Accountability and Standards Recovery FAST Act was first proposed in 2022, the chickens were finally coming home to roost in the form of higher prices, job cuts, and shuttered businesses. But California politicians, who are beholden to the Service Employees International Union's demands for fear of political retribution, chose not to listen. Yeah, because, like, they're somehow gonna not... Like, that one union's gonna prevent Democrats from winning in It's California, dude. These people don't care. Like what Pelosi said about AOC, like, you could put a D on a glass of water and then vote him into office there. The original version of the FAST Act would have been even more damaging. Negotiations yielded a compromise, lower the minimum wage from 22 to 20, extend the timeline of its implementation from January 1st, 2023 to April 1st, 2024. It also neutered the powers of the Fast Food Council to advisory status rather than creating a new rulemaking body. Most importantly, the California Compromise eliminated joint employer liability, which would have destroyed the franchise model by tying brands and their franchise owners together as one entity, long a practice for unions and their ongoing boondoggle to attempt to organize employees at franchise locations as one entity. Joint employer status erodes independence and autonomy from individual franchise owners, consolidating power with big business and big labor unions, which makes sense because that's who these... I mean, Gavin Newsom represents big money and big business. He's not there for the people. He is not a populist. He's a member of the party of giant corporations, right? Like, let's not forget, these people absolutely love big pharma, and they love all the big energy businesses and all the other crap. That's the good news. On the other side of the coin, the Biden administration's National Labor Relations Board is pursuing a similar joint employer policy at the national level. Thankfully, the House passed a repeal. Now the Senate must get the ball over the finish line. In the upper chamber, the efforts joined bipartisan support, including West Virginia Democrat Senator Joe Manchin, several other moderate Democrats. Yeah. They enjoys bipartisan support, including people who are not insanely far left. That's what they're basically saying there. Exporting policies too extreme for the Golden State is not a wise course of action for the rest of the country. I mean, we could just close all the fast food places now and get this whole thing over with, I suppose. Small business owners in California face one of the most unfriendly climates. The state has the highest unemployment rate in the country, and its job growth is dead last. Businesses are fleeing in droves at the nation's fastest rate. Before the FAST Act took effect, restaurant jobs in the state were down. Most entrepreneurs are opting to relocate elsewhere rather than comply with an endless torrent of mandates, being forced to close their doors. Meanwhile, some California politicians are even calling for a $50 minimum wage. Get a copy editor, and it's not 50 minimum. Even in California, voters are starting to fight back. Yeah, too late. Your state's is gonna fail, just like ours is. That's and if that's not clear, let me have Bernie tell you why our state's gonna fail. Here we go, Bernie Sanders. It's time for a 4-day work week. Yeah, in this op-ed here. The editor's note: Senator Bernie Sanders, senior senator from Vermont, he's the longest serving independent, which is a joke that they refer to Bernie as independent still. Like, socialists aren't independent, dude. They're just like the lefter wing of the Democrats. But, we can all play pretend like there might have been a time where Bernie was actually independent, but that ship sailed, dude. He votes lockstep. The wealthiest people in this country have never had it so good. This is from Bernie's op-ed. Supposedly, he wrote this. Well, income and wealth inequality in the United States is soaring. More than 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. We have one of the highest rates of childhood poverty among major countries on earth, and more than 650,000 people are homeless. According to a study by the Rand Corporation, since 1975, there's been nearly a $50 trillion dollar transfer of wealth in America from the bottom 90% to those at the top. Meanwhile, since 1973, weekly wages for the American worker have actually gone down after adjusting for inflation. Yes, thank you. Thank you to all you awesome politicians who made that inflation happen. That's great. Thank you guys. Because inflation is just a hidden tax, really. It's time for a change, real change, as more Americans are giving up on government and democracy, which I love how they say that. Oh, they're giving up on democracy. Yeah, because they have there's so many other options. No, they just know the whole system's broken and it's not real anymore. Like it's all just fake garbage, Bernie. Get a grip. Time is long overdue for Congress to stand up for the hard-pressed working families of our country as an important step in the direction that would be implementing a 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. Because we can't keep Burlington, Vermont can't keep fast food open 24/7. And you think we're going to do well on a 4-day work week? The issue is that, like, nobody wants to work at all. It'd be a large part of it, I assume. But yeah, okay. As far back as 1866, one of the essential planks of the trade union movement in America was to establish an 8-hour workday. Simple and straightforward demand: 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, and 8 hours for what you will. Like brushing your teeth and traveling to and from your place of work, because that's what you want. Americans in that era were sick and tired of working 12-hour days or even 6 or 7 days a week. Very little time for rest, relaxation, or quality time with their families. They went out on strike. They organized. They petitioned the government and business leaders. They achieved real results after a decade of struggle, which will just completely forget all the people that still work 15-hour days in this country to make ends meet. Forget all about the people who have to work 2 jobs thanks to Biden inflation to make things work. Another one with like the CEOs, where they always give CEOs make so much money, it's not fair, even though these dudes have to work like 12 to 15 hours a day to stay on top because there's another guy itching for their spot all the time. Finally, in 1916, the President Woodrow Wilson signed into legislation a law to establish an 8-hour workday for railroad workers. 10 years later, the Ford Motor Company became one of the first major employers in America to establish a 5-day work week for auto workers. 1933, the U.S. Senate had overwhelmingly passed legislation to establish a 30-hour work week. Just a few years later, Franklin Delano, President FDR signed the Fair Labor Standards Act into law, and the standard 40-hour work week was created. That is good news. Wait, no, not so. By 1933, the U.S. Senate overwhelmingly passed legislation to establish a 30-hour work week. And then a few days later, FDR, who's supposed to be like the greatest thing that ever happened to the country, brought it back to 40 hours. Because, yeah, why not, I suppose? You mean, so we basically could have had for 100 years now a 30-hour work week. And bad news that despite massive growth in technology and skyrocketing worker productivity, millions of Americans are working longer hours for lower wages. In fact, nearly 40% of employees in the United States are working at least 50 hours a week. 18% are working at least 60. This means the American people have the dubious distinction of working far more hours per year as the people of most other wealthy nations. On average, Americans work 470 more hours on the job per year than people in Germany, even though they're poor, 300 hours more than people in France, 279 hours more than people in the United Kingdom, 204 hours more than people in Japan, 125 hours more than people in Canada. So that's like 2 hours a week is 125 hours. As a result of the extraordinary technological revolution that's taken place in recent years and decades, American workers are more than 400% more productive than they were in the 1940s, yet almost all the economic gains from these technological achievements are going straight to the top. For example, in 1965, the CEO of a large corporation in America made 20 times more than their average worker. Today, CEOs of large corporations make nearly 350 times more than their average worker. Yeah, because it's insanely competitive to be be a CEO of a top Fortune 500. At a moment in history when artificial intelligence and robotics radically transform our economy, it's time to make sure that working people benefit from the increased productivity, not just corporate CEOs and the billionaire class. And I guess the government itself, because if we went to 30, I mean, he's saying at the same pay, but ideally it's if wages went down, taxes would go down, which is why they wanted the same pay. 'Cause don't forget, like these people don't care about you. They're just trying to pretend. It's time to reduce the stress level in our country and allow Americans to enjoy a better quality of life. It's time for a 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. This is not a radical idea. In fact, the movement in this direction is already taking place in other developed countries. France, the seventh largest economy in the world, is the 35-hour work week and is considering reducing to 32. As a result of strong unions, the standard work week for most employees in Denmark is about 37. Wow, a whole 3 hours a week. That would be great. Belgium has already adopted a 4-day work week. In 2023, the trade union movement in Germany won a 32-hour work week for metal workers, while auto workers at Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz have a 35-hour work week. In December, Lamborghini announced that it'd be moving to a 4-day work week after union workers established a guiding principle: work less and work better. Pilot programs in the UK and South Africa found that worker productivity and business revenue both go up with a 4-day work week. In other words, 32 hours a week with no loss in pay is good for workers and good for businesses, except we don't have the staff to keep things open here now. So we slash our work pool by 20%, and then, your quality of life might go up mildly, but it's also not great because it's not like it's not like you can go out to eat because there's going to be no restaurants open. In the U.S. and Canada, more than 2/3 of the workers showed less job burnout, anxiety, and fatigue declined for roughly 40%. 60% recorded more success achieving a family balance. Almost every participant wanted to continue the program. Company turnover fell by more than 20%, and absenteeism by 39%. Microsoft tested a 4-day work week in Japan and reported 40% increase in productivity. Yeah, which is probably great when you work an office job, but when you're actually like running a company that matters, like, Bernie, should we just shut down all the grocery stores an extra day? Is that how we go about implementing this? And then the company makes less, and then they can't afford to pay the staff, so then they cut staff, and basically what's going to happen is it would widow down the amount of people who I would be willing to hire, because I've got to get more production out of them in 4 days than I used to in 5, and I got to hire more employees. 86 years after Roosevelt signed a 40-hour work week into law, it's time for us to move to a 32-hour work week. But I'm pretty sure it said that in 1933 we actually had a 30-hour work week. So I'm a little confused, but there we are. Yeah, Bernie just completely out of touch with what's going on currently. Pretending like we could do that. You know what I mean? Like we could just go to we got a 4 days a week work, and it'll be fine. Nothing bad will happen. That's for sure. Okay, yeah, here, we'll do this one real quick. This one made me chuckle, just because of the framing. Daily Mail: Pete Buttigieg mocks Americans who don't want electric cars. Buttigieg mocks Americans who don't want electric cars. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg made fun of Americans who don't want to buy electric cars, claiming they're the same people that didn't want to adapt to cell phones in the mid-2000s. Comes as 8 states run by Democrats like Buttigieg are planning to ban non-electric vehicles by 2032. Because they work super well in the cold and stuff. That might be why some people don't want them. But the funny part is the Americans who didn't want to adapt to cell phones. Yeah, because we're doing so much better as a culture with cell phones and social media and the internet in our pocket, even though we should be way smarter. This place it's a burning dumpster fire. And I would argue that part of it's cell phones and social media. Anyways, let's have a chuckle. I'm going to stop screen and share this. I didn't clear it with them, but we're going to watch a sketch starring my buddy Pierre Vachon. I just want to check and see. I'm actually going to leave a comment because I did watch this earlier. Okay. Yep, I'm actually going to subscribe. It's my Pierre's Buddy, 11-Way Pictures. And here we go. It's called Singing at the Movies.
Good evening, my good man. I am here for the film extravaganza. I realize I am a bit late. I do hope you take late admissions, of course.
We do.
Yes, good. Now, normally I would ask for some sort of a discount because I am so late, but I am willing to pay full price for this film of the decade, and I am in a good mood. So, what is the price, my good man?
Normally.
Say no more. You see, I do not pay in coin or cash, for I pay in song. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Oh, good. So good. The setup is so good. Oh, man. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to pause every once in a while, but this is great.
Honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Maybe my heart's on fire. If you abuse me, honey, you'll lose me. Then you'll be left alone. So, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Perfect. Now, what I need you to do is you need to get me a medium ginger ale, no ice, the largest popcorn that you can find, some Charleston chews, maybe a Snickers bar, all the butter you can muster. Put it all in one bag and just fill it with butter, and then bring it over here on a tray. Now, off with you, my good man.
We're closed.
What?
The last movie got out a half an hour ago. Everybody's gone. I should have locked the doors. I'm sorry. We're closed.
Very well. Very well.
Sir, that's our bathroom.
I know.
Oh, man. What a great little short. Oh, this graphic is cool. Oh, what a great little... that was fun. Well, thank you guys for enjoying that with me. That was, it was Pierre Vachon starring and singing at the movies. Fun little short film. Lots and lots of water, my man, says Nick Waters. He also said, I'm back. My Wi-Fi is shit. Had to restart my phone. Fair enough. But lots and lots of water. Lots of hot dog flavored water, hopefully. That's where it's at. Is the sparkling hot dog flavored water. Oh. Oh, and other things that aren't news that are news that shouldn't be. Hunter Schafer says she turned down tons of trans roles. I just don't want to do it. Hunter Schafer said she's turned down a ton of trans roles. Hunter Schafer said this week she'd like to shift the public's focus away from her trans identity. Oh my goodness. You mean people who are all about identity politics are realizing it's not great for them to be completely wrapped up in identity politics? That's crazy. I just want to be a girl and finally move on, the Euphoria star said in a GQ cover story, adding that she's even hesitant to say the word trans in interviews. As soon as I say it gets blast off, she said, it took a while to learn that. It also took a while to learn that I don't want to be reduced to that. I find I don't want to be that. That's, and they added reduced to. That's interesting. And I don't want to be that. And I find it ultimately demeaning to me in what I do, especially after high school. I was sick of talking about it. I worked so hard to get where I am, past these really hard points in my transition. Now I just want to be a girl and finally move on. In high school, Schaefer was highly publicized for being the youngest plaintiff in a lawsuit challenging North Carolina's House Bill 2, which bans trans people from using public bathrooms that didn't match the gender on their birth certificate. I felt like I had to make my art a response to everything that was happening in North Carolina, when that's not really what I wanted to be making art about necessarily, she said, reflecting on her work as a visual artist and fashion designer, as well as an actress and model. I felt like, oh, I'm trans. I should be making art about this. I mean, shocking that people who were wrapped up in their identity thought every single thing should be their identity. Wow. The shift away from this focus has been very intentional for Schaefer. It's not just been happened naturally by any means. She said, if I let it happen, it would still be giving transsexual actress before every article. Elsewhere in the profile, actress opened up about her grief following the death of fellow Euphoria actor Angus Cloud, who died last summer at 25 from an accidental drug overdose. Because that's the type of people you have in Hollywood, I suppose. And other trans news, high schoolers walk out as adults advocate for transgender rights. This New York. Sorry, students at a New York high school staged walkouts and counter protests over a policy allowing transgender students to use bathrooms matching their gender identity. Those protesting said it made some students uncomfortable, while transgender student HickoryTDAU argued for inclusion and against being, quote, silenced, unquote. School district superintendent said she was unaware of alleged incidents in bathrooms and the district would provide a safe environment for all students. Yeah, because you couldn't just assume that weird shit's going on in high school bathrooms, like, to begin with. Like, even if there wasn't an issue with biological boys sharing bathrooms with biological girls. Like, why don't you just assume that there's weird shit going on? It's high school. A bunch of people from our school, John Jay, feel uncomfortable. John Jay High School student Shauna Nealon said, we want to change that. Give them their own space to make us more comfortable and them more comfortable. John Jay High School has male, female, and single stall neutral bathrooms. Student Corey Pator said, I feel as though we shouldn't be silenced no matter what. Because apparently somebody is just really keeping Corey quiet, and every quote she makes is about her being silenced, apparently. You don't take your electric car to get oil changes, right? Lol. No, although I feel like there was definitely an article about that at one point, about some woman being outraged because she took in her electric car to get an oil change and they just laughed at her. We're human just like everyone else, Pator said. I myself have been struggling with this for so long, and I just feel like we shouldn't be silenced because we're humans ourselves. Because apparently somebody's putting a muzzle on this person and just not allowing them to speak, even though they have like 100 and something holidays. Superintendent noted students who left school early would need to discuss conduct. We're going to continue to provide a safe environment for all our students in all means, each and every one of them. We want to support all of their rights, but we're also going to be following the proper protocol that we're responsible for following. Debate centered around balancing transgender rights and others' comfort in light of laws requiring transgender access to bathrooms of their identity. Yep. One last one. Whoops. Massachusetts girl team forfeits basketball game over trans athlete participation, which is kind of a misleading headline because it wasn't necessarily about the participation. It was the fact that this transgender athlete injured people on their team. And anyways, we'll see. A girls basketball team in Massachusetts made headlines by abandoning a game because of the participation of a transgender athlete on the opposing team. The forfeit occurred during halftime, with the scoreboard showing a 10-0 lead for the opposing team. The incident, in a sense, sparked debates and discussion over inclusivity and fairness in sports. Collegiate Charter spokesperson Casey Crane wrote in a comment on February 8th, the coach of the Collegiate Charter School of Lowell girls basketball team decided to end the game at halftime after watching a third player injured in the game with KIPP Academy. The individual who injured 3 of KIPP's players, biologically male but identified as female. According to Fox News Digital, the player was 6 feet tall and had facial hair. Officials from Collegiate charter school stated that the team opted to forfeit because the other players were concerned about getting injured. As a result, the team could potentially miss the playoffs, which were just a few days away. The bench was already depleted going into the game, with 12-player roster having 4 players unable to play. School spokesperson Casey Crane stated, when the coach saw 3 more go down in the first half, leaving him early, the upcoming charter school playoffs were looming, and he needed a healthy and robust bench in 4 days. Crane wrote, once the third was injured, the remaining 5 expressed concern to him about continuing to play. The players feared getting injured and being unable to compete in playoffs. Craziness. In an effort to maintain safety for his team, he decided to forfeit. Charter school supports the decision, reiterates its value of both inclusivity and safety for all students. We have the standards set by the MIAA and our board of trustees seriously and strive to uphold them on and off the court. We also follow the guidance from the MIAA and state laws regarding equity and access for all student athletes. The video from the game showed the shocking moment where the taller, bulkier transgender player forcefully ripped the ball from the other player's arms, causing her to fall. The player from collegiate charter could be seen struggling to move and visibly writhing in pain. Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association guidelines address gender identity in sports teams, highlighting the principles of inclusivity and fairness. Section 43.3.1 states, a student shall not be excluded from participating on a gender-specific sports team that is consistent with the student's bona fide gender identity. Because what's bona fide mean, really? The handbook specified that a student cannot be listed on a team roster to gain an unfair advantage. Seiler recommended the best practice the schools communicate with their opponents as necessary about the gender-specific needs of their team to promote inclusion. So now you're just you got to like single out the students and talk with the other team about it. That sounds totally equitable. You people are idiots. Kemp Academy, Massachusetts Executive Director Rhonda Barnes spoke to Fox News Digital. According to her, the Academy's goal is to allow every child to be accessible to create the future they want. He emphasized that every student had the right to participate in all sports based on their gender identity or expression. We condemn harmful comments being made online towards members of our community, and we'll continue to let our organization's vision, mission, and principles guide our actions. So yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna get kicked out like the Vermont Christian, Central Vermont Christian school girls, that they got kicked right out of all state sports because they forfeited a game because a player got injured by a trans athlete, and they gave up. And now they're no longer allowed to be a part of the state sports program. So it makes me wonder how Massachusetts is gonna take that whole thing. That'll be interesting. RFK in the news. RFK doubles down, claims Biden is a threat to democracy. The claims administration bullied social media companies into censorship with existential threat to their survival. Kennedy said he was concerned about Biden's attempt to censor social media. He defended his remarks after suggesting Biden was a bigger threat than Trump to democracy. Kennedy said his comment was unfairly edited by CNN because that's the way it made him look. That's the way it made me look crazy to liberals. But they already think you're crazy, dude, because you're not like a... Oh yeah, that one was a whole the Woodstock snowboarding coach. That was a whole nother thing where the snowboarding coach was just engaged in a conversation with the students. Engaged in a conversation with a couple students about trans people playing on their given sports. And just because they had a calm, casual conversation about the topic, they booted the coach. Because, like, why wouldn't you? You know, you can't have a coach that has like rational opinions and shit. You gotta make sure that you know they're drinking the Kool-Aid and they believe exactly what the state schools tell them to do. Because don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, these are not public schools; they're government schools. We're the public. We're not welcome there. He just won the court case. That would be. I would like to make that happen. Let's see, in Woodstock. Coach. Well, this was September 1st. Enjoy the Jim Jones experience. High school snowboarding coach sues district, alleges he was fired for criticizing trans policy. Vermont High School is being sued by a former snowboarding coach who says he was fired for having criticized the school's transgender policy. David Bloch, who served as Woodstock Union High School's snowboarding coach, filed a lawsuit after being terminated in February. That was February of last year, to be clear. Suit names as defendants Heather Bushy, interim secretary for the Vermont Agency of Education, Jay Nichols, the executive director of the Vermont Principals Association, Sherry Sousa, superintendent of Windsor Central Supervisory Union, and the Windsor Central Supervisory Board. Christian Post reported that Bloch, who is a devout Roman Catholic who believes that there are only two biological sexes, briefly engaged in a conversation before a contest on the issue of biological males competing in girls' sports. Conversation was sparked by the fact that Woodstock Union was about to compete against a snowboard team that included a biological male who identified as female. According to the lawsuit, Bloch respectfully presented his view that as a matter of biology, males and females have different DNA. The biological differences generally give males a competitive advantage in athletic events. Let's be clear, always give biological males an advantage. The conversation was respectful among all parties and lasted no more than 3 minutes. It took place entirely outside the presence of the transgender identifying snowboarder, read the complaint. Coach Bloch's team and the team with the male who identifies as female competed without incident. After the competition, the two teams and their coaches, including Coach Bloch, shared a bus home. Bloch is represented by the Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, conservative legal group that defends religious freedom in the U.S. ADF legal counsel Matthew Hoffman told the Christian Post via the email Bloch contacted the legal group shortly after he was fired. Public schools can't fire employees for respectful speech on a matter of public concern, said Hoffman. Not only was what Coach Bloch said completely true and consistent with science, it was protected from speech under the First Amendment. Windsor Central Supervisory Union Superintendent Sherry Sousa replied that he had been instructed by the district lawyers not to discuss the facts of the case. Yeah, because they wouldn't want to seem like the bad guys here now, would they? We are confident that the district acted properly. We expect that the court will agree that there was not a violation of any rights. So that didn't answer what I wanted to know, which was, is there a outcome? Yeah, he founded the program, huh? After being illegally fired, his dismissal came after he engaged. Bloch reached an out-of-court settlement to resolve the matter. Although the exact amount of the settlement remains undisclosed, it's known that Bloch will not return to his coaching job. I mean, I wouldn't either. Like, yeah, just go crawling back to the people that fired you over nonsense. The proposed payment to Bloch was significantly less than the cost of the defending claims, according to the Burlington lawyer Pietro Lynn, who represents Sousa in the school board. The case will be dismissed once the payment is made, including the recent appeal of Bloch to the U.S. Appeals Court Second Circuit in New York City. His legal battle highlights the delicate balance between free speech and employment rights within educational institutions. Bloch's victory underscores the principle the public school employees should be able to express their views on matters of public concern without fear of retribution. Yeah, especially talking to I don't know, like kids on your team. Like, it wasn't like he brought this up. I don't think that was another part of it. I'm pretty sure that was a thing that like they brought up. Yeah, anyways, they tried to make RFK sound crazy to the liberals, but to be fair, I mean, they already thought it was. There is a video I just saw with him. I saw but can't find it. If you do find it, send it over, Nick. But yeah, I mean, RFK is not pro force vaccinating people with things that are still under research. So, I mean, he's not a lefty cultist, so of course they're gonna disagree with him or think he's crazy. In an interview with News Nation's Cuomo, weeknights 8 p.m., Kennedy cited his own legal case against the Biden administration, arguing that the president was unlawfully violated the First Amendment by working with Meta, Google, and Twitter to censor posts on social media. Similar legal case was filed by Missouri and Louisiana. I mean, you could also look at the fact that he specifically instructed Merrick Garland to go after Trump and to take the kid gloves off and just go after him, which is very, far more fascistic than anything Trump actually did while in office. I mean, he couldn't even He wouldn't even send in the National Guard when far leftists attacked a courthouse for 100 days straight in Portland, or when the 529 insurrection happened and they firebombed the guard posts at the White House and the president's church. Leverage the White House had, it was saying, if you don't do it, we're going to do a trust case against you and we're going to revoke your Section 230 immunity, he said, calling the government's actions an existential threat to social media companies. So the government agencies demanded censorship on select posts from him and other users about public health and COVID-19 vaccine, but also posts criticizing Biden's Ukraine policy, and even a video parody of First Lady Jill Biden profanely heckling children while reading to them. The existential threat, and the social media companies went ahead and censored us, he said. February Kennedy's case won a preliminary injunction against the Biden administration, preventing them from taking actions to coerce or significantly encourage social media companies to remove, delete, suppress, or reduce, including through altering their algorithms, posted social media content containing protected free speech. Not only that, they had a direct back route to get in touch with the people at the top, and probably still do it, most of them. I'd like to think that Elon ended that at X, but I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. Eclipse 2024 countdown. What to know about traffic on April 8th. That's right. If you were in the, I don't know, I feel weird calling this place the great state of Vermont anymore. If you're in Vermont on Monday, watch the hell out, because there's going to be a crap load of people here. In less than a week, itty bitty Vermont's going to feel much more crowded. Leading up to the April 8th solar eclipse, nearly 250,000 visitors are expected to swarm the Green Mountain State due to its positions within the path of totality. The path of totality. Oh, sounds like I got me a message. Let me pull that down so I can check it. That was showing the stuff. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. We're actually gonna watch this interview. It's from the ADF. That's why Dave is suing the school that fired him. Okay, we'll check that one out in a second because I got to switch over. But we'll get right back to that after we talk about the eclipse for a second. Thank you, Nick. I do appreciate that, brother. That's helpful. To avoid the heavy traffic and overall chaos on the day, the Vermont Agency of Transportation advises Vermonters to hunker down and forego driving on April 8th. Yeah, don't go out there and drive. Just let everyone else come to the state. Many northern Vermont schools and some businesses, for instance, are taking heed and closing for the eclipse. I would assume partly because they don't want to be sued for kids staring at the sun. And also because, like, emergency services and shit are going to be having a real hard time getting around. For residents who still plan to brave the roads, however, here's what you should know about traffic conditions on April 8th. What might Vermont traffic look like on April 8th? Preparation for the eclipse, the Vermont Agency of Transportation compiled a list of assumptions about the motor vehicle traffic expected on April 8th. Though some sources anticipated higher numbers, the agency said it foresees a maximum of 160,000 visitors, which, yeah, I've heard far more than that. We'll see. Or 60,000 additional cars. Yeah, I saw like 250,000, which is like, I don't know, 40% of our state's population. It's a pretty significant increase. However, Vermont may end up seeing fewer visitors due to anticipated cloudy and rainy day, even though that's, I'm pretty sure that's not the case anymore. I'm pretty sure it's going to be blue skies and we're going to have a great view. According to the agency, most visitors will likely enter Vermont from the south, particularly from Boston, Worcester, and Massachusetts, and Hartford, Springfield, New Haven, Bridgeport, and Connecticut. Vermonters should also anticipate fellow drivers pulling off the side of the road to watch the eclipse because, you know, it's not like everybody knows the time. Like, you couldn't just look it up, right? Like, you definitely have to be driving and then pull over to see it. Based on the above assumptions, the roads with the highest estimated traffic volumes likely would include US 4 and Mendon, Bridgewater, and Woodstock. Yay! 103 in Ludlow, Clarendon, Cavendish, Vermont 100 in Waterbury, US 5 in Brattleboro, I-89, US 7, Shelburne, Ferrisburg, Pittsford. However, it should be noted that local and feeder roads also experience delays, congestion should drivers begin to detour from the main roadways. A lot of places have been closing. Here's a map of Burlington. Hotel reservations and airport data indicate that Vermont's biggest city may welcome as many as 35,000 to 50,000 tourists for the eclipse. Yeah, and that's just Burlington. What a what a crappy city. Why would you want to go there? There's so many better places to see this thing in the state. According to last month's Burlington Police Chief's report, there'll be 40 police officers on duty, as the same amount as July 3rd fireworks celebration last year, minus the 5 additional officers Burlington police hired from adjacent agencies will be serving in their own communities during the eclipse. 8 police officers and 5 community service officers will manage shuttle buses, lanes, street closures. 1 supervisor and 4 officers will handle non-event related calls. All other officers are charged with providing security at the eclipse events and manning the Department of Emergency Response. Feel like a great time to go rob the bank or something. However, despite police preparations, Burlington residents should still expect to see traffic delays, potential emergency vehicle delays at a minimum, and complete gridlock at worst, depending on crowd size. Local police said crowds should exceed, should crowds exceed 50,000 people, traffic likely be unmanageable everywhere in the city, regardless of their efforts. Crowds surpass 75,000. Burlington's likely to become gridlocked. Interstate 80 and major arteries like Route 7 and Route 2 may shut down, making emergency response unguaranteed. Yeah, that's right. They're just warning you out ahead of time that heard banks and credit unions will be closing. I mean, that's probably a wise idea. I know schools are. Probably partly because they don't want to get sued. When little Timmy stares directly at the eclipse and ends up blinding himself. But also because, like, you don't want to be in a position where you're at a school and, like, nobody can get in or out. Like, that's a bad thing. Because, yeah, they're basically saying, hey, you're probably on your own. Good luck, you know. Hopefully nobody starts the purge while this thing's happening, but it's a possibility. We could see some craziness. Okay. Let's check out what Dave Block has to say in his interview here with the Alliance Defending Freedom. We got intro, Dave's story, Dave's termination. Okay, so let's check this thing out. I've never seen this. Should be interesting.
Understand the importance of telling the truth. I only wish I could say the same about the administrators running their school. My name is Dave Block. My school district fired me during the season, all for telling the truth, for speaking openly, honestly, and respectfully with my snowboarders. It's been a dozen years since I started the snowboard team at Woodstock Union High School in my home state of Vermont. Over that time, I've experienced countless rewarding moments with my student athletes. As any coach can tell you, the most satisfying part of my role comes when a student I've coached grows into a mature, successful, and confident young adult who goes on to do great things. As a coach, it's crucial to always tell the truth. After all, as an athlete, you wouldn't want your reality check coming midway down the slope.
Okay, he's doing great so far. A little storytelling action. We got some cool graphics.
You want your coach to give you open, honest feedback during practice so you can be your best when the competition begins. My players understand the importance of telling the truth. I only wish I could say the same about the administrators running their school. My name is Dave Block.
Oh, it's Woodstock. It's a bunch of far-left wacky dudes who vote like they live in New York City. Just to be clear, we just want to make sure that's out there.
My school district fired me during the season, all for telling the truth, for speaking openly, honestly, and respectfully with my snowboarders. Here's what happened. During downtime at a competition that involved a team with a male athlete who identifies as a female, 2 of my players and I were sitting together at a table. The conversation turned to whether male athletes should compete against female athletes based on asserted gender identity.
To be clear, this was not like a conversation he brought up.
One student at the table, a male, said that he thought athletes should compete against males or females according to their sex rather than asserted gender identity. The other student, a female, responded by calling him transphobic.
I'm assuming she wants to lose. That's because if she actually cared about fairness, she would agree. Or she'd be like, why don't we have a trans... And that's a whole issue on its own, is the fact that you get called transphobic just for pointing out the fact that biological men are bigger, stronger, faster than yeah, trans women are bigger, stronger, and faster than biological women. And you get called a transphobe for pointing out that fact when it actually matters. Like, as we saw with 3 female athletes getting injured by 1 athlete in Massachusetts this past week.
I then joined the conversation. I said that even though I recognize that people may express themselves in particular ways, what matters most when it comes to sports is the very real differences between the sexes.
And the fact that these rules were put in place to protect women. And now that's why I've given up. Like, I don't care. Like, I think anybody should be able to compete. We should just get rid of women's sports and just have sports. And then, I mean, then it's an even playing field, right? Because there's no difference. So why would we have a women? And then we can stop siphoning money off, like, I say, like, I'm a part of it. I hate these sports places. Then you can stop having, like, the NBA subsidize the WNBA, because the WNBA has never turned a profit. I mean, crazy, right?
I pointed out that an archaeologist might not be able to determine whether a person identified as a male or female, but he would be able to tell whether the bones had male or female DNA.
It also might most likely be able to tell because of how the hips are shaped and a few other general characteristics.
The discussion lasted less than 3 minutes. Everyone remained respectful, and even though we may not have agreed, the female student thanked me for what she called a good conversation. I agreed. I still agree, even though the school district seized upon that conversation to hand me my walking papers the very next day. Called into the superintendent's office.
I want to know who ratted him out. Like, what happened there? Like, what was it like who went back to the superintendent or someone and, like, ratted him out on this?
I could hardly believe it when she greeted me with a notice of termination. I was even more surprised to hear her rationale. I was accused of violating the district's harassment, hazing, and bullying policy, a vague and excessively broad policy that every district in the state is required to implement.
Yeah. Yeah, basically a targeting policy so they can get rid of whoever they want for saying things they don't agree with, because, as I said, it's a government school.
The notice said that my supposed use of disparaging names created an objectively offensive environment and constituted harassment based on gender identity. What disparaging names had I used? None.
She said biological man. That's obvious, or biological male. That's clearly the most evil thing that you can say.
Of course, but I wasn't given the chance to point that out before being fired. I wasn't even given an opportunity to appeal the decision, which includes a lifetime ban from coaching in the district, a stain on my record that other employers will see. What the district did was wrong.
And they're settling. So obviously they know they messed up on this one.
Public school employees can't be fired for respectfully expressing their views on matters of public concern. That's censorship, and it violates the First Amendment's guarantee of free speech. That's why, with the help of Alliance Defending Freedom, I filed a lawsuit to challenge both my firing and the policy that gave administrators cover to punish me for speaking. I don't want this to happen to anyone else.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to. Probably an overprotective parent siding in the lodge. I mean, that's very, very likely. It's just mind-boggling, dude.
And neither should you. You and I may not agree on everything. We may even disagree on important issues, but this is America. We should at least agree that government officials, including public school administrators, can't be allowed to ruin our careers and destroy our reputations just because they disagree with what we have to say.
Especially when it's not offensive or it wasn't targeted harassment. It was just a conversation. Yeah, no, this whole thing is...
To find more stories like this, visit adflegal.org/freedom matters. Before you go, like this video and subscribe to this channel so you never miss an episode.
Yeah, as I said, just Looney Tunes. I mean, I've been saying it for a while that we live in a socialist asshole. There's another video on F-Book. I can't find it right now. No, that's pretty. Wow. Yeah, I forgot that this happened. I remembered that it did. I just couldn't. Um, just another one, man. What a crazy. Oh, craziness. Anyways, we're gonna get into the last story of the night before I get on out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I do appreciate each and every one of you for dropping by, especially you, Mr. Waters. Thank you for sending me over that video. What interesting times we live in, my friends. And yeah, this is why when I was on the Media Virus podcast and they asked me about defending women's sports, and I said I don't care. I'll start defending women's sports when they start defending themselves, but until then, like until actual women stand up and don't support this stuff, like because you think it's transphobic not to let a dude just sorry for all hijacking the show. I'll love you, bro. No, not a problem, dude. We were on a bunch of it, so it was actually good to get that out because I honestly hadn't followed up enough on that story, and I'm glad that I did. But yeah, we'll get into the last one before I get on out of here. U.S. man arrested in California for, quote, eating amputated leg from victim of fatal train accident. Oh yeah, this is where we're at in the U.S. right now. This is how good Bidenomics is doing, is that people are forced to eat legs. That's a joke, of course. Don't hate. A U.S. man was arrested on Friday after appearing to carry and eat a body part from someone who was killed by a train in the state of California. Although I'm sure he was let go like 5 minutes later, because that's how these things work. Can I just get rid of that? There we go. So then happened in Kearns County, Wasco area in San Joaquin Valley, and an unsettling video circulated on social media. A man later identified as 27-year-old Rosendo Telez appeared to be taking a human leg from the fatal train accident scene and starts eating it. Yeah, we're not actually going to watch the video. I mean, and that's fair, right? That's fair. Like finders keepers, right? I mean, like if you find food that isn't claimed, like you gotta take advantage. I wonder if he was from Haiti. Seems to be popular activities down there lately. The Kern County Sheriff's investigating a fatal incident where a pedestrian was struck by a train in Wasco Amtrak station on Friday morning. U.S. media reports that one unidentified individual lost his life in a tragic incident, sustaining severe injuries, including limb amputations. Reports said a witness recounted seeing someone pick up a detached leg at the scene. Shockingly, a video captured the suspect carrying the limb on the roadside, even sniffing it before proceeding down the street. Eventually surrounded by police cars, Telez was apprehended near the Amtrak station for allegedly tampering with crime scene evidence. U.S. authorities noted the pedestrian was struck near the train platform. Telez faces charges for unlawfully removing human remains. His initial court appearance is scheduled for Tuesday. Details about the victim and Telez's motives remain undisclosed. The marks of the second instance this year of someone absconding with body parts from a train accident site in the U.S. Yeah, which kind of reminds me of, I'll actually pull up a link because it's not gonna sound real. I'm gonna figure out how to phrase that soon. Yeah, this was New York. So I'm wondering if being in California, he's actually gonna face any actual repercussions. Gonna be like this. Release of 4 suspects in Long Island body part case inspires new bail law. The supervised release of 4 Long Islanders arrested Tuesday in connection with 2 dismembered corpses found in Suffolk County parks inspired new bail reform legislation. New York State Senator Anthony Palumbo sounds like a man for the job. And Assemblyman Michael Durso, note that they're both New York Republicans, which doesn't mean much, proposed a bill Friday to make dismembering or concealing a human corpse a bail-eligible Class E felony. Because that's right, my friends. The state of New York, you can have dismembered a body, and they will arrest you. Don't get me wrong, they will arrest you. They will book you. They'll fingerprint you. They'll give you a court date. They will not hold you, because that's where bail reform went to. Is that you pretty much have to do something like if they can't prove that you killed the person, they can only prove that you cut them up and hid their body parts. They can't hold you on bail. Fucking, what a time to be alive, my friends. Nobody with an ounce of sensibility would say it's a good idea to let someone charged with the sickening act of human dismemberment leave jail and roam the streets, Palumbo said. Yet here in New York, that's exactly the situation that the irresponsible Democrats who ostensibly lead the state put us in due to the radical, nonsensical policies of putting criminals first. Democrats' bail policies have already been amended 3 times because there was such an ill-conceived disaster, and here we are again, the former Suffolk County prosecutor continued. Every Democratic legislator who voted for bail reform should hang their head in shame at the notion that we have to scramble to introduce legislation, keep people in jail who are charged with a crime as horrific as body dismemberment. It is a real-life nightmare. The Republican lawmakers' proposal came in response to what they call the state's notoriously flawed bail laws, which was the subject of a war of words Thursday between Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul, conservative Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond Tierney, Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association Vice President Louis Civello. After learning Tierney had been critical of 2019 legislation that prohibited law enforcement from detaining the suspects after finding evidence linking them to multiple body parts found in 3 locations within a 5-mile radius, the government blamed the DA's office for filing charges that aren't bail eligible. Maybe the DA should have done a more thorough investigation and brought murder charges or conspiracy to commit murder or even assault charges, the governor told Fox 5's Good Day New York. I encourage the DA's office to go back and build your case, because if you bring any of those charges, which I think would be appropriate, that's absolutely bail eligible, she's added. These people would not have been out on the street. Yes, but the fact that dismembering a body doesn't meet the minimum eligibility to be remanded with bail is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. The fact that you have to add other charges, and that's the issue, dude, is that like the laws are way too complicated. It should be much more simple. Dismembering a body should probably keep you in jail until we figure out what was going on. You know, like, seems like you might be a little bit dangerous if you're cool with cutting up other humans and hiding their remains places. In response, Tierney released a statement accusing Hochul of being either completely clueless or being deceitful about how the criminal justice system works, arguing the charges filed were dictated by the evidence so far discovered. Civello also took exception to Hochul's characterization of the situation, saying instead of this opportunity to fix New York's reckless bail reform law, the governor decided to attack law enforcement. She also got booed out of the, oh, Nick, I love you. You know what I like? Cake farts. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite videos of all time. Meatloaf farts coming in as a hot and heavy second. New York City, GTA. Yeah, basically. It's wild down there. Like, as long as you're the right demographic, you can get away with anything, apparently. Yeah, identities of the victims, 53-year-old man and 59-year-old woman, have not been made public. Suffolk County Police said Friday afternoon there was nothing new to report in the investigation. The district attorney's office said the conditions placed on the defendant's release, which includes GPS monitoring, have been extended and will remain in effect as it continues. What a wild time. What a wild time to be alive. Yeah, there's ones we didn't cover here, some good ones, like Ron DeSantis suspending Orlando City Commissioner accused of stealing 96-year-old's money. Satanic Temple preparing to enter Florida schools. The state moves to pass bill allowing chaplains to volunteer. Yeah, because, bringing drag queens in wasn't enough. We actually got to get the Satanic Temple. And if those people were actually based, I'd probably be willing to back them. But yeah, no, they're a bunch of lefty woke sellouts nowadays. They used to actually be kind of cool and be pushing back, but now they're wear the mask and get the poke, kind of people. So, yeah, I think that's all we got. Yeah, California. Go. Yeah, unfortunately, I do believe that's it. But thank you guys for hanging out with me, Nick, Benji, everyone else who dropped by for the show. I appreciate it. I will be getting guests back on in the next week or two, depending. I got some emails going out, and yeah. Is there gonna be a new MC Molasses snow removal video? So over this shit. Yeah, I hear you. That's there should be. No, but there is new MC Molasses in the works right now. Benji, also the clear is back next month. That's right. Was it May or was it June? It might be June 1st. I can't remember, but I did see that. The clear is coming back, ladies and gentlemen. Excited. Absolutely excited. Because when you're here, you're in the clear. That's right. Yes, I do. May 1st. Nice. I do have a stack of clear coasters. I got a clear glass, and I do have the. I have a poster. I've been meaning to hang that up, and I keep forgetting. But you know, there's a bunch of random stuff hanging out in the studio, and I keep forgetting. Yeah, May 1st. So we'll probably be going there for the beautiful assistant's birthday in May. And then, yeah, I'll keep everyone posted on the next show. We're working on figuring out the date, time, and space for that. And toasted pecans got over toasted fast. Yeah, man, they burn fast. They burn quick. You know, you got to be careful. Careful, don't get your nuts too hot, ladies and gentlemen, because you'll end up burning out. And hot damn, yeah, they lasted like a whole 3.5 months. That was speed running how to fail at a restaurant touring. The restaurant fail speed run just happened. It starts with buying a well-respected and loved business, and then gutting it and turning it into something it was never meant to be, and removing all the things people loved about the space. And voila. Yeah, they would have done much better. Like, they would have done all right on Killington, probably. But yeah, it's just, yeah, Benji Law fell 101. Absolutely, my friend. Just, they speed run restaurant failing. That's what that was. Mind-boggling that they thought that was a good idea. Anyways, that's all I got on this one. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll be back next week, as always. I appreciate you guys and had a lot of fun this week, and hope to continue this for many, many, many weeks to come. Till next time, I'll see you guys then. Remember to stay safe, stay drunk, stay underwhelming. Most importantly, it's trying times, stay sane. Try not to get fired from your coaching job for speaking the truth. And by that, I mean, have a job that won't fire you for speaking the truth. Be so valuable that they can't ignore you. And I will see you guys next time. Till then.
Above all else, I just want to say thank you. Have a beautiful night. Drunk Magician out. Cheers. Now let's get the credits. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate the help.